Word up, nerds. Welcome back to the channel. This is my Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5 review and breakdown. Take this as your spoiler warning. I will be going into all the details of this episode, so if you want to stick around for that, let's do this.
You better be ready. Glorious.
What did you think of the new intro? I put a little bit of effort into that. Not a lot, obviously, but a little bit. Like I say, today is episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so we'll get into this. So the start of the episode basically starts off where we left off. We see John Walker, he's basically running away. We see him enter a warehouse. Seems devastated at what he's done, obviously at Lamar's death. But he very quickly compartmentalises that, puts it away, get right back to business. This is where Sam and Bucky turn up. And we see straight away sort of Sam's wisdom. He's talking to him, he's using his training. We see his experience with veterans, and he's basically talking Walker down, doing a great job, and until he says, you've got to give us the shield. Then Walker's like, oh right, so that's what this is about. And they just get it on, they just get into it. Really cool fight scene, some interesting use of the weapons, the wings. Bucky catching the shield again, wields it for a second or two. Sam tries going all Spidey, he tethers the shield, tries to get it off Walker, but that doesn't quite work. And Walker basically takes the guys out. He throws Bucky against the wall, his arms all, glitching, and that's not working again. So his indestructible vibranium arm does seem quite weak, actually, now, when it needs to be, conveniently. John takes him down, basically just rips his wings off, screaming, "I am Captain America!" Picks up his shield, he's about to kill Sam, but, Bucky saves the day. The boys get the shield off, but by breaking his arm, getting the shield off, they knock him out. Job's done. Bucky's like the first one to his feet, and he basically throws the shield down to Sam again, and is like, he basically just walks off, and he's like, "That's yours, deal with it." And Sam's like, "Okay, I'll take this." At last. So we cut back to the compound. Torres is here. We learn the government's basically come in, they've taken over, taken jurisdiction. But Sam doesn't really, he doesn't come clean about what Walker's did, how the wings got damaged to Torres, because Torres keeps asking him, what happened to the wings. Sam doesn't reveal that, John just tried to basically kill both him and Bucky. Sam just leaves them with him in the end. He walks off with the shield. We learn Carly and the Flag Smashers, they've basically vanished again, they're a ghost. So Sam, he just walks away, he leaves the wings with Torres. This is obviously setting up Torres' return as the new Falcon. Whether we'll see this in the finale next week or maybe in season 2, probably season 2. I think that's more likely. I think Torres, as he is in the comics, in the comics he does actually get mutated, so he's fused, he's half human, half Falcon. But obviously M.C.U. is not going to go that route just yet. So yeah, he's going to get the Falcon suit, get them working. He's going to be the new Falcon. So now we cut back to the military trial. We see Walker on trial. He basically gets away with murder. He walks away at the end of the trial, but he gets stripped of all of his medals, all of his military privileges and benefits. And he's not happy. He goes off on a bit of a rant about how he's only doing what they've ever told him, how they made him. He's not happy, as he's still getting reprimanded, he just turns around and walks off. But yeah, cut to him and his wife outside, and this is where the much anticipated cameo happens. It actually turns out it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld. Most people will probably know her from. A little disappointing in my book. She's won many awards, so probably is quite a big deal, but the actress herself, personally, I'm not overawed with. And the character she's playing, it's check my notes for this one, Contessa Valentina Allegro della Fontaine. Yeah, like I say, obscure comic book character. Basically, she has ties back with Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. She had a small run as Madam Hydra, I think most people will pick up on. So whether they're going down the Hydra route, that remains to be seen, but I think that was like a triple agent thing. She was infiltrating Hydra to double cross them. Personally, I think she's just going to be like a bit of a shady government operative, possibly linked with S.W.O.R.D. or the Thunderbolts. But she basically tells Walker, the only reason you're getting punished is basically because of, you kind of did it in public. She agrees he did the right thing. She would have killed him too. She says all them suits agree with what he would have done, but again, because of the publicity, being punished for that. She basically just gives him a card, a blank card, and says, the best thing you'll ever do will be to answer the phone when I call. So I would think, again, she's going to call him back in. This is when we'll see Walker take up the mantle of US agents, probably. But yeah, I think she's going to make a call and we're going to see Walker come back try and take on the Flag Smashers in the finale. She also informs Walker that he's very valuable and she knows that he's taken the serum. Again, I think this is what's making me believe that she's linked to the Thunderbolts. Senator Thunderbolt Ross, or whatever he is, possibly President Ross now. We know he's involved with the Super Soldier Serum. He was way back in The Incredible Hulk. We know he's linked to the Weapons Plus program. And yeah, we know the Thunderbolts is coming. She also informs him that the shield doesn't actually belong to the American government. So whether this is setting up Walker's trying to steal, is Walker going to try and steal the shield? Because if he thinks, well, it doesn't actually belong to them, then I'm going to take it, it's mine, it belongs to me, I'm Captain America. He really believes that he is Captain America now. After this scene, we cut to Zemo at the Sokovia Memorial. Don't know how long he's been stood there, but it's long enough for Bucky to find him. So they have a bit of an interaction. Zemo basically tries to explain that the only way to stop Carly is to put an end to Carly, as she's far too radicalized. And he knows that Sam isn't going to do that, so he hopes that Bucky, being the killer that he is, will do that. Also kind of apologizes and says he understands why Bucky kind of did what he did. But they kind of make peace. You know, Bucky pulls the gun on him. He does pull the trigger, but obviously he's got the bullets in his other hand. He drops the bullets, signifying to Zemo that, you know, he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He's just Bucky Barnes. So Io and the Dora Milaje turn up. Bucky's obviously called the girls in to make peace with them. They inform us they're going to take him to the raft, so it looks like they are actually going to play along with international law. I thought they might take him back to Wakanda and, you know, make sure he stays in prison this time. But no, you know, it looks like they're going to hand him over to the international law. But this conveniently sets up Zemo to be held in the raft under the supervision of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, perfectly setting up his involvement in the Thunderbolts later on in the MCU. There we are again, more Thunderbolts. As they're leading Zemo away, Io says to Bucky, you know, you best make yourself scarce around Wakanda for the time being until this all blows over. So it does look like he's still welcome now. He still has a home in Wakanda, but he just best not go there for a while. He understands. As she's leaving, he does ask Io for one more favour. So now, at this time, we're going to catch up with Sam. He's actually gone back to visit Isaiah Bradley, the old black Captain America we met earlier in the show. He's taking the shield with him, so I can only assume he intends to drop the shield off with him. He's having none of that. He invites him inside, and Sam says, you know, I want to understand what happened. So he tells him his story about, you know, how they basically got experimented on. They shot a load of people up with this serum. Not many people survived. Those that did, they were sent out on missions. A lot of them got captured. And when Bradley heard the top brass talking about them being abandoned or possibly, you know, blowing the base up themselves to hide all evidence, he basically pulls the Steve Rogers. He goes single-handedly and gets those guys out. His reward for that was to be imprisoned for 30 years. Well, to be imprisoned for life, probably. He was experimented on, they've run tests on him, taken countless bloods, God knows what he went through. But eventually a nurse befriended him, she faked some paperwork and faked his death and got him out of there. So him and Sam are having a discussion, and Sam's like, well, people need to know this story, people need to know what happened in your story. And Bradley's having none of that. He's like, I'd be dead within a day. They wouldn't let me stand there and tell my story. They just wouldn't let that happen. They'd kill me before that happened. And this one he says, they'll never let a black man be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America. Sam doesn't respond to this, but I don't think he agrees. I think they have different visions. Later on we do learn that, you know, he understands why Bradley feels this way, obviously. But, you know, he can't let that influence his own decision. So Sam goes home, goes back to his sister's boat, catch up with them, and we learn that his sister, Sarah, can't actually sell the boat. The man who's going to buy it doesn't want it. It's just in too bad a shape. Anyway, as she's sort of helping some neighbourhood kids, Sam's like, well, I'm going to fix this boat. And, you know, everyone around here must owe us a favour, so cue the first montage of the episode. Well, we get a few montages in this episode. We get a quick montage of everyone coming to help the Wilsons out, because they're such a great family. Everyone owes them a favour. So they get a load of gear. This is where Bucky turns up. He's dropping off this Wakandan briefcase that he's been given. I'm not sure how much time has passed, but he's got this briefcase. He says, I'm just dropping this off and getting out of here. And this is when a pipe starts leaking on the boat, so Bucky rushes over. Cue the second sort of montage we get of them fixing the boat up a bit. But yeah, we see Sam and Bucky working together. So a little bit of bonding time going on with them. So that's probably good for their relationship. So now we're going to catch up with John Walker, and he's actually gone to see Lamar Hoskins' parents. He's basically explaining what happened. They ask him, was he the one that did it? And he says, yes, he was. So I think he's convinced himself that he was the one responsible. I think in his own mind, all of those Flag Smashers are going to get it. Yeah, he's not going to, just settle with one of them. He's going for them all. So yeah, in his own mind, I think he's convinced himself that he's done the right thing. He took down a cold-blooded killer, but that just wasn't the case. The guy he killed was the guy that was actually holding him back to be killed. But technicalities. Hoskins' parents are telling him how proud Hoskins was when he became Captain America and how proud he was to be his partner. We catch up with Sharon Carter. She's actually on the phone to George Batroc from episode 1, GSP himself. And he's ranting and raving in French at her, and she's like, no, if it wasn't for me, you'd still be in the Algerian prison. We learn that she was the one that actually set up that mission in the first episode, and she offers him double this time. She'll make it worth his while. That's just fueling my theory that Sharon Carter probably is the power broker. We got the cameo earlier in the episode, and there's good evidence there that she could be the power broker. There's no mention of the power broker in this episode. I mean, he has been referred to as a he in the past by Zemo and various others. I'm not so sure. But yeah, I mean, there's something definitely shady going on with Sharon Carter here. I mean, we know she's connected in Madripoor, but yeah, she's the one pulling the strings with Batroc, who isn't necessarily an evil guy. He's more of just a mercenary, gun for hire. He doesn't really want to do bad things, as it were. He's just, he's out for the money, basically. Check the notebook, check the notes. So now we cut back, and it's to Bucky. He's waking up on Sam's couch, which is, a step up from the floor from in his own house. So maybe there's a little bit of healing going on there, mental healing for Bucky, which is a good sign. He wakes up, the nephews, they've got the shield out, toy fighting with it as you would do. Kudos to them, but they see Bucky wake up and they run off. We catch up with Sam and Bucky. They're throwing the shield around. We've seen in the trailer, basically playing catch, ricocheting the shield off trees. But they're having a bit of a conversation. This is where we learn that Steve and Bucky did discuss Steve's plan of giving Sam the shield before his departure in Endgame to return all the Infinity Stones. Yeah, Bucky, they didn't even realise what it would mean for a black man to be Captain America. These guys, they didn't really see the colour aspect of it. They just wanted Sam to be Captain America. He kind of apologises for their naivety. Bucky also says to Sam that, the shield's like the only family he has, and that's why it means so much to him. But Sam's like, yeah, well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but Steve's gone, and it didn't really matter what he thinks. He's like, you've got to do the work. It only matters what you believe. And Bucky's like, well, I've been doing the work. And Sam's like, no, you haven't been amending. You've been avenging. You've been trying to, right wrongs that you did when you were the Winter Soldier, as it were, like taking down the Senator. But he says, no, you've got to make the people in the book, you've got to make them feel better about themselves or make them feel better. So this is obviously, we're going to see Bucky go and visit Yuri again from, episode 1. That's going to be a real awkward conversation I do not envy at all. I mean, he's basically going to have to explain that he killed his son when he was under mind-controlled influence. Awkward. This is really the heart of the episode. It's Sam's wisdom coming through, his ability to think and talk things through. As we've seen all the way through this show, his first thing isn't to go in there guns blazing. He wants to talk to people. He wants to get to the root of the situation and solve the problem, and not just beat the enemy. So eventually, Bucky heads out of there, obviously probably going back to visit Yuri in Brooklyn. But, they part on good terms, and he does say, whenever you get a lead, give me a call and I'll be there with Carly. So Sam is talking with his sister, and it turns out that she no longer wants to sell the boat. It's fixed, it's running now, and it's their family legacy. They should protect it, pass that down. So it's used as a bit of a metaphor for the actual shield and what Captain America is, and the way Sam's feeling about that whole thing. They talk about Bradley's views again, and she's like, well, you're not going to let his views weigh on your shoulders, are you? And he's like, well, that guy went through so much, and he completely understands how he's feeling. What was the point in all of his sacrifice if Sam isn't willing to take up the fight and to stand up and fight for it? So I think this is where he makes his mind up of what he's going to do, and cue the next training montage of Sam looking awesome. Yeah, funny training montage. A minute ago he was throwing the shield, catching it, no problem, and now all of a sudden, we can't catch the shield, or the shield doesn't ricochet off the tree the way he wants it to. Doing a lot of flips, a lot of sprints. It's very cool. Anthony Mackie's looking super fly. Yeah, so now we catch up with Carly and the Flag Smashers. Enter GSP. He returns as Batroc. He brings a suitcase. Looks like he's basically there to arm the Flag Smashers this time. Carly's companion doesn't seem very happy that they're now working with criminals, and she quickly reminds him that they are criminals now. They've got to up their game. They're not going to let this vote go ahead. And it turns out that they're going to stop a GRC vote, which is basically just going to round up all the refugees, as they've been labelled, probably at gunpoint, deport them into concentration camps, which, as we learn, don't actually have many supplies, but no one seems very concerned at this. It's the same government official we've seen in every government capacity. I don't know if this is the only guy who can make a decision, but it was the guy doing the press conference with John Walker. It was the guy at John Walker's trial, and now he's the guy heading up the GRC vote. So even though everyone's back, the government doesn't seem to have a fully functioning board. Just this one guy doing everything. But yeah, the Flag Smashers, Carly opens the app. Again, as little John Wick, everyone in the vicinity kind of stands up, comes towards them. They've even got people inside the GRC headquarters this is in New York City. That all goes into lockdown. It's a little bit Hydra, one of the security guards flashes past, walks up to another guy's one world, one people, not the old Hail Hydra, but it's very similar. But then everything sort of blacks out, emergency lights come on, we kind of leave them looking very worried. Yeah, Batroc does explain that, he wants nothing to do with the movement. He's only here to kill the Falcon. So he's there to kill Sam, but he was sent there by Sharon Carter. So is she playing double sides? Is that just, how she got him to do this thing? Why is she helping the Flag Smashers? Why is she sent Batroc to help the Flag Smashers? She's working criminals now. I suppose the GRC want to tighten up borders, so it could just be that, but I don't know. What's going on there? So the very last shot, we cut back to Sam. He's figured out that the Flag Smashers are going to hit the GRC vote going on in New York City. Dramatically pulls out the suitcase. It goes all Pulp Fiction as he opens the suitcase, and then cut to black. We don't know what's inside. But we do know what's inside, because it's obviously a vibranium wingsuit, probably in the the very comic accurate colour scheme, I'm imagining. Should you be into these things, there are toy leaks online, so we kind of know that Sam's going to end up as Captain America at the end of this show. So again, episode 5, the penultimate episode, same as WandaVision, we do get a mid-credit scene in this one, cutting to John Walker, going a bit Tony Stark, to be fair, vest top. He's forging his brand new shield. He's taking his Medal of Honor and he's precisely placing that in there. The welding mask comes down, so yeah, he's making himself a new shield. So it looks like there's going to be 2 shields in the next episode. This is only steel, it's not a vibranium shield, so how it's going to functionally work, I don't think he'll be able to. I don't think it's going to be ricocheting off people. Maybe he'll try it and it'll just fall to the floor when it hits someone. I don't know. That'll be quite funny. I think I'd love to see that. So John Walker's got his new shield. Awesome. So I think we are going to see him turn up in episode 6 as US agent. Well, he probably won't have that moniker yet, but he's going to show up with a shield. Yeah, so that's that episode. Like I say, I think this one worked a lot better. The pacing was a lot better. It's a wonder what a couple of montages can do for the pacing of a pretty slow episode overall. The good old training montage, you gotta love them. Every 80s action flick had one. There was a lot of hype for this episode, particularly around a cameo coming in. Personally, I wasn't that overawed. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Did you even know there was hype for this episode in particular? Seems a bit odd when the director is hyping up the penultimate episode and not the finale of the show, but that's where we were. Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes in. Like I say, there's going to be a lot of speculation about her character. It's a bit of an obscure one, but like I say, there's S.H.I.E.L.D. ties, there's Hydra ties. Personally, I think she's just going to be, like I say, a shady government official, probably linked to Thaddeus Ross and setting up the Thunderbolts. I think she's probably going to be a recruiter along those lines for that. Let me know what you thought. So what's the deal with Sharon Carter? There's definitely some questions there. We know she's worked her way up into the higher ranks in Madripoor. By the look of it, she's high ranking. Looks like she's got guys working below her. She's access to a couple of satellites. She's setting up missions for Batroc and getting him out of prisons. So is she the power broker? Is she the power broker's right hand woman? So like I say, Zemo is taken to the raft. I think this is going to play very nicely for a future MCU project, the Thunderbolts. If you don't know, Thaddeus Ross, he runs the raft. The guy who threw the Sokovian Accord at the Avengers and started the whole Civil War thing. He basically runs the raft, but he's in charge of the Thunderbolts in the comics. So if you think DC's Suicide Squad, a group of supervillains, multiple life sentences and they get a bit of time off to do missions, similar sort of thing to that. So I think there's definitely some groundwork coming up. I think at the end of the next episode, Sam is probably going to take out John Walker in an epic finale, hopefully, and Sam's going to take John Walker down. John Walker's going to end up in the raft. So that's 2 members of the Thunderbolts probably already there. So definitely laying some groundwork on for a future show. So my predictions for the finale, episode 6. I think we're just obviously everyone's going to get called into New York City. Going to be a confrontation on the streets. We've seen that in the trailers. So obviously we got Carly, the Flag Smashers, George, the Leaper Backtrack, or he's usually got a squad with him. Obviously Sam's going to turn up. Bucky's going to turn up. John Walker's going to show. I think those three are going to work together to take down the threat and the Flag Smashers, hopefully in an epic 20-minute, highly choreographed, awesome action sequence. Probably not though, probably get 5 minutes of action towards the end and then a load of talking. But I think, John Walker will probably end up killing Carly, or at least try to, and he'll end up getting talked down by Sam. And again, I don't think they'll actually take him out. I think they will arrest him and he'll go off to the raft. But yeah, I think again we're going to see Sam talking someone down, taking the situation, diffusing the situation as it were. And this is what's highlighting why he is the right choice to be Captain America. John Walker looked really good on paper. He was a super soldier as it were before he took the super soldier serum. But that doesn't always play out in the real world, very well. Whereas Sam, he's a good man at heart. He doesn't want to beat the enemy. He wants to solve the problem. There's a big difference there. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. You looking forward to the last episode? If you're still here, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. It all helps the algorithm get me out there, let other people find me. So until next time, Until next time, farewell.